Hey everyone, I thought it'd be great to start sharing a number of quick and easy meals that I make with my Blackstone. So today I'm making one of my favorites, sausage sandwich with peppers and onions. Besides being quick and easy to make, it's also a pretty well-rounded meal, meaning that it has a starch, some meat, and some vegetables. And for me, a quick, easy, tasty, and well-rounded meal is a win all around. Another great thing about this meal is that you can easily scale it up for a large hungry party. My first and main ingredient is Italian sausage. I purchased one pack of sweet and another of hot. You'll also see that I butterflied the sausages. I like doing this for two reasons. The first is that it creates a large sear directly on the meat versus just sort of roasting the outside. And the second, I like how I can sandwich the peppers and onions between the sausage when I'm preparing the dish. Here are the rolls that I'm using today, and we're pretty limited on finding more Italian style rolls on the West Coast, but my family did say they preferred the softer style of these rolls than the harder shells on the Italian rolls back home. Next up are the peppers and onions. I like to cut and place my vegetables into gallon-sized Ziploc bags so that I can easily toss in some oil and salt and mix them around. I cut both the peppers and onions into thin slices and combine them together into the bag. Both will cook at the same temp and for about the same amount of time, so I should have great results. Finally, a couple of additional things I'll be cooking with. Since this is an Italian dish, I'll be using extra virgin olive oil. I typically use avocado oil when I cook, as it's neutral and imparts little to no flavor to the food. But since this is an Italian style sandwich, the olive oil really adds to the flavor and aromatics of the peppers and onions, along with the meat. And onto the peppers and onions, we'll be adding some Italian seasoning. As I've mentioned in my other videos, I like adding seasonings later in the session so that the essential oils don't burn off early, and I won't have burnt and bitter pieces of herbs in my food. If you've watched my video on how to easily prep, cook, and clean on a Blackstone, you'll see that I like to start by raising my griddle temperature to about 300 to 350 degrees. Once it reaches temperature, I wipe it down to remove any debris, and then I add a light base coat of oil. This oil will absolutely ensure that I have a great non-stick layer as I cook. So, kicking things off, I am raising the temp of the left side of my griddle to around 450 to 475 degrees for the sausage. Depending on how much food you add to your griddle and its initial temperature, you'll want to raise your griddle to 30 to 50 degrees above the recommended cooking temp or searing temp, or else you won't get that initial sear that you'd expect from cast iron. Alright, so I've added the sausages, and I could hear them searing, but not as much as I anticipated. In this case, this is telling me that I don't have enough oil between the sausage and the griddle surface. So what I need to do is add a little bit more oil, and when I did, these sausages started screaming. Next up are my vegetables. I like cooking most of my vegetables around 350 to 375 degrees. So I have the right side of my griddle set to about 400. I anticipated that these would take just about as long as it would take for the sausages to cook, but if they do cook sooner, I have my grill set to warm, so I'll just take the food and platter it, place it into the grill, and let it stay warm. After a few minutes, I checked my sausages to see if they have a good sear, which they do, and now I'll flip them over to cook on the other side. Since these are pork, I want to cook them to about 160 degrees. Much like bacon, sausage is less prone to be overcooked because of the amount of fat, but they can still be overcooked and get dried out. So I do like to take my digital thermometer and check them every couple minutes until they reach temp, at which point in time I'll pull them off. You can see here that the sausages are shrinking and beginning to buckle. I hadn't seen this before with the larger sausages that I've used, but with these I had to think fast and butterfly the edges a little bit so that they make good contact with the surface. Alright, I'm tossing my vegetables a few times to make sure they have a good roast on the outside. I'm also making sure that they're nice and tender. I like the vegetables to be soft, almost to the point where they melt in your mouth on the sandwich. Crunchy onions or peppers on the sandwich is not what I'm going for. So I want to make sure they're cooked all the way through and also have a nice char. My peppers and onions are now about ready. I like to add my seasoning at this point so that I can bring out the essential oils in the herbs without scorching and burning them. So just dust some on, flip it a few times, and when you start to smell the aroma of the herbs coming out, you could pull them off. This will take about 3 to 5 minutes. Alright, my vegetables are now ready at this point. So what I'm going to do is pull them off, toss them on a platter, and then bring them over to my grill where they can keep warm. A quick check of my sausages, and they're now at temp, so I can pull these off and add them to the platter to keep them warm. So now I'm lightly scraping down the surface where the sausages were cooking. What I'm trying to do here is get rid of any buildup, but keep the oils that I was cooking with. This way, when I add my rolls for toasting, I could suck up all the flavor and use it to create a nice toast on the buns. Now that I'm finished and my oil's all spread out, I'll begin to add the buns. After a few minutes, I'll flip these over and check on them. If I'm happy with the finish, I'll pull them off and begin plating. And there you have it, sausage with onions and peppers on a toasted roll. And the great thing about it is that it only took me 25 minutes from prep to serve. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. And I plan on following this video up with a number more that show you how to make complete meals using only your Blackstone.